Guys, I want to share with you a concept that completely changed my life. It completely changed my health. It completely changed my business. It completely changed my relationship. It completely changed everything in my life. Of all the things that I've learned in my life, I would say this is one of the most important concepts. And when I really adopted it, that's when things really started to change very rapidly. I used to be 240 pounds, 5'9". So not tall, not short, fat as though. And at that point in my life, I already started my business. Okay. And this is like, I'm using this scenario because this is like the most clear example, but this issue that I'm gonna be talking about in the video, it really has been rampant in my life for most of my life. Different periods where I kind of overcame it, but most of my life. Okay. But this scenario right here is, I would say, rock bottom. Business was doing okay. Coaching was doing okay. I was rock bottom physically, mentally, and emotionally. Like I said, 5'9", fat as. And essentially what was going on was that I was allowing my feelings to dictate what I did and what I didn't do. My feelings about whatever task I was about to do or whatever was going on or what I needed to do, but whether I felt like doing it or not, that was my North Star, guys. Like that was the thing that like I would always listen to. How do I feel about this task? Do I feel like doing this right now or not? Am I feeling lazy? Do I feel like procrastinating? Do I feel like working on the business? Do I feel like reaching out to these leads? Do I feel like going and getting a workout? And do I feel like sticking to my diet? And guess what, guys? If you're 5'9", 240 pounds, shocker, you're not going to feel like doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing most of the time. And because I was just constantly listening to that voice, that feeling, right? That the North Star, my life just kept getting harder and harder and harder, right? I would avoid this temporary pain of, yeah, I don't feel like doing it, but I should probably go do it. But I just couldn't be bothered with it because it was like just sitting down and focusing on this thing or going for that run or sticking to my diet for more than 30 minutes. It was just too painful. And I would just go and I would distract. I would distract myself with TV. I would distract myself with food. I would distract myself with video games, going out with friends, going on a trip, doing whatever I needed to do to not do this thing that I was actually supposed to do to grow my business, to get in shape, to improve my relationships, to improve my life and get me closer to the goal that I actually wanted to achieve. And this is the thing that I really took to heart, and it completely changed everything. How you feel really does not matter. How you feel about the task that you're supposed to do to get to the goal that you have for yourself does not matter. You have to realize, because we're human, our emotions, our emotional state, the way that we feel, the way that we act, the frequency that we operate from, it's going to vary day to day. It's going to vary moment to moment. Sometimes you have a morning where you're like, dude, I can conquer the world. And you end the day with, I suck, you know? And you have to be able to still work through things, even though that feeling is telling you, I don't want to do this right now. I don't feel like doing this right now. Because as soon as you allow your feelings to outweigh the importance of the action, you're going in the completely wrong direction. Because you have to understand this. No one cares whether you felt like doing it or not. No one cares how busy you are. No one cares how lazy you are. No one cares how tired you are. No one cares how hungry you are. No one cares what is going on in your life. I'm sure you had a hard life. I'm sure you're going through some shit right now. I get it. I sympathize with you. But at the end of the day, no one cares. Okay? And you don't care. If you think about it, long term, you are not going to give a shit that you were tired, that you were hungry, that you were lazy, that you were procrastinating, that you really wanted to watch that next YouTube video, that you wanted to go out with your friends, that you just wanted to put it off for one more day. Future you is not going to give a shit whether you wanted to do it or not. They're going to care whether you did the work or not to get to the goal. Because if you look back at your life 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, you're not going to be like, I'm not at my goal, but it's okay because I didn't really feel like doing it that day. I was really tired and I was like, you know what? I'll just start it the next day. And that next day never came. No, you're going to care whether you did the work or not. You're going to care whether you have the result or not. You're going to care whether you're living the life that you wanted to live or not, based off of the actions that you took today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not on Monday, not after the vacation. What actions did you take today? That's the concept that you need to fully believe in, but you need to embody in your life. Does not matter how I feel about this task. Does not matter how tired I am when I wake up. Does not matter whether I want to work on this business or not. If the vision is to create a business to get yourself some freedom in your life, then you have to work on the business. You have to work on the business. Your desire to get to a destination and the journey that you're going to follow needs to be more important and needs to hold much more weight than your feelings towards the everyday tasks that look like I don't necessarily need to do this today. But in reality, those are the building blocks that are going to get you to your goal. Okay. I was having a conversation with somebody over Instagram and they're like, hey, I want to join your program, but I have 2 jobs and I'm super busy and this and that and blah, 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 just describing their situation. And they're like, but I want to know what your thoughts are. And keep in mind, guys, I didn't reach out to them. They reached out to me and they just laid it all out there and they wanted to know my thoughts on it. And I think they were looking for some sort of validation that their situation was an excuse not to do the work. And keep in mind, they also said, I don't like where I'm at and I want something more. I want something different. I want a different life, a different situation. And I told them the exact same thing that I'm telling you right now. At the end of the day, it does not matter what your situation looks like. It does not matter how tired you are, how hungry you are, how busy you are, whether this event came up or whether this thing or your friends invited you out or whatever it is. It does not matter. If you have a goal that you want to achieve, the actions need to outweigh your feelings towards that goal. I'm not saying go and abandon every part of your life, but if there is something that you want, the actions to get you there need to have some weight in your life, much more than your feelings. Because guys, I don't want to film this YouTube video right now. I've probably been filming for like 20 minutes. I don't even know what the fuck to say. And I have that resistance, right? And when we come to those moments of resistance where it's like, oh, this is getting hard, this is getting difficult, I'm not really creative right now, the ideas aren't really flowing, I can either revert back to who I was and be like, I'll start tomorrow. It's just one more day. I don't really feel like doing it and I can go about my business. Or I can just sit here. I'm uncomfortable. I'm not, the ideas aren't really flowing. I have some resistance. It's okay. I can sit here. I can wait. I can wait until the ideas are flowing. And that's what you have to do. The problem is that sometimes people follow one of 2 paths, right? One leads to success and one doesn't. And the path is that they try shit, they fail, and then they're like, okay, I failed. They sit with it, they re-strategize, and they try again. Those people are going to succeed. Most of the time, though, people try shit, they fail, they feel shitty, and then they're like, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to fail again. I'm overwhelmed. I already tried really hard. I don't feel like doing it. Guys, that is a surefire way to just reinforce the identity that you don't do this, that you can't do this, that this is too hard, that this is too demanding, that you know what, you don't feel like it and that's okay. Guys, it's not okay. It's not okay. Imagine explaining to your kid, and I play this scenario with myself pretty often when I'm feeling lazy, when I'm feeling like procrastinating. Imagine explaining to your kid, hey, I had this goal that we were going to go and do this. And I was going to be able to take you and your mom and your sister. We were going to be able to do this and that and all these things. And I was going to, buy this house and I was going to do this and I was going to do all of these great things. Oh, why didn't you do it? Just didn't feel like doing it. Just didn't feel like doing the work. So we just stayed where we were at. We never chased anything else. We never chased more. We never pursued any growth because I just didn't feel like it that day. Guys, how ridiculous does that sound? The way that you feel at the end of the day doesn't matter. No one cares. You don't care. You shouldn't care right now. I get it. Life is hard. Sometimes situations are hard. But at the end of the day, the desire to get to the goal needs to be greater than the desire to just put it off. Remember, we are going to negotiate with ourselves way better than anybody else ever could. We know everything about ourselves. We know the things that make us tick. We know the things that distract us. We know the things that taste good. We know the things that feel good. We know the things that just kind of make us forget. So that internal negotiation is going to be really strong. And you have to be able to get to the point where you're like I said, you're like, I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to do this. right now, but that's okay. I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to keep going. And the more that you do that, the more you're going to solidify this new identity that regardless of how you feel, you do the work. Day in and day out to get closer and closer to your goal. You're going to do the work because that is what is required to get you to the future that you want. If you don't have any goals and you don't want to pursue anything and you're good where you're at, you're probably not going to be watching this video. But deep down, if you're watching this video and you listen to my advice and you watch all of my content, guys, there is something missing in your life. There is something that you want to pursue and you just have to make the time for it and you have to work hard for it. Your situation at the end of the day does not matter. I was putting in hours in my business when I was at the sheriff's office, when I would get off my shift. Sometimes I would stay late. Guys, when I had already started my business, I had multiple 20, 24-hour shifts when we were working big cases. That was getting to the point where it was normal because I was in detectives. I still made time to work on my business. There was so many times where my wife walked into the office and I was passed out on my laptop and I had to wake up and go to work. And at the time I wasn't like, oh my God, like I'm so tired. I worked a long shift. I did this, I did that. No, this is what's required right now in this phase of my life to get me to the goal that I have, which was exactly the life that I'm living right now. Exactly what I'm living right now. Marvin, years ago, he was dreaming of this life. He was dreaming of this amount of success when it comes to my spiritual, my financial, my physical, and my relationships with my family. This is what I was dreaming about, the freedom that I have. But if I didn't do the work in those first years of just grinding and doing the work regardless of what was going on, regardless of how tired I was, regardless of how many times I was invited out. Guys, I was invited out all the time by my friends who we used to go out all the time. But guess what? I wanted to start this business. I didn't have time to waste going to the bars, going and doing all of these things. I didn't have time to waste because I knew that I wanted something more. I knew that I wanted something more. And if I was going to get there, I wasn't going to just sit and think myself to that situation. And I damn sure wasn't going to wait and feel like doing the work. Because if I was, I'd still be at the sheriff's office. I would have never left because there were so many times where I was just so exhausted. I was so tired. The last thing that I wanted to do was call 5 more suppliers. The last thing that I wanted to do was put in 1 more hour of sourcing. But guess what? I fucking did it. And I did it again and again and again until I was actually able to get to my goal. And that's what you need to understand. Regardless of the feeling, it cannot be your North Star. The way that you feel across the board, regardless of what we're talking about, whether it's business, whether it's fitness, whether it's relationships, whether it's whatever, your feelings towards the actions that are necessary to get you to who you want to be and what you want to do need to be non-negotiable. If you can do this, guys, it will completely, radically change your life because that's exactly what it did for me.